Hello and welcome to the news update. I am Yamina Bagudu. The Presidency has directed the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources to suspend its plan to audit the account of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC). Rema O has the details.
The directive is contained in a letter addressed to the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources. It was signed by the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila. According to the letter, the constitution of a committee to audit the accounts of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission has been referred to the Attorney General of the Federation for review and the determination of the constitutional, statutory, and administrative implications. Therefore, the committee is directed to suspend its activities pending the conclusion of the review by the Attorney General of the Federation. The new directive comes against the background of the lingering crisis between the management of the NUPRC and its workers. Adaobi Rema Gwejofor reporting for Value Chain TV.
Nigeria's economic growth rate has declined to 2.51% in the second quarter of 2023 compared to the same period of last year, as job-creating sectors struggled with headwinds. This is contained in the 11th economic growth data released in the second quarter of 2023. Chat Moses reports.
This is the first report since Bola Ahmed Tinubu embarked on reforms targeted at increasing output in the country. While noting the country's sluggish economic growth, the National Bureau of Statistics on Friday said this growth rate is lower than the 3.54% recorded in the second quarter of 2022. The report attributed the decline to the challenging economic conditions being experienced in the country. Some experts said that the second quarter GDP outturn was lower than the consensus estimate of 2.8% year-on-year due to a faster than expected contraction in the oil sector. Adaobi Rema reporting for Value Chain TV.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has lamented that 90% of the country's revenue is being used to service national debt, describing it as a destructive path and promised to deviate from such actions. President Tinubu stated these at the annual Nigerian Bar Association conference in Abuja. Chat Moses completes the report.
The theme of the conference is Getting It Right, charting the course for Nigeria's nation building, which President Tinubu said is apt. He said Nigeria cannot continue to service external debt with 90% of its revenue, as the practice is a path to destruction because it is not sustainable. President Tinubu maintained that very difficult changes that are necessary for the country to get up from slumber and be respected among the great nations of the world must be made. According to him, the reforms will create short-term discomfort and have negative impact on Nigerians, but he encouraged citizens to put future generations above short-term comfort. Chat Moses reporting for Value Chain TV.
Meanwhile, the contribution of the oil sector to Nigerians' gross domestic product has hit its lowest point in 8 years in the second quarter of 2023, indicating the fragile nature of the economy. Rema O has the details.
The National Bureau of Statistics said the oil sector contributed 5.34% to the total real GDP in the second quarter of 2023, down from the figure recorded in the corresponding period of 2022 and down from the preceding quarter, where it contributed 6.33% and 6.21% respectively. Nigeria's oil contribution to the GDP reflects the country's inability to attract investment for active exploration, as well as persistent operational issues that interfered with oil production growth in Africa's largest oil-producing country. Experts said the only way this can be revamped is more investment off and onshore and sustained efforts by the security agencies to zero crude oil theft. Daily oil production in Nigeria averaged 1.22 million barrels per day within the period. lower than the daily average production of 1.43 million barrels per day recorded in the same quarter of 2022 by 0.22 million barrels per day.
The National Association of Nigerian Students, (NANS), has urged the House of Representatives to amend the Student Loan Act to accommodate all Nigerian students who desire loans. The president of the association, Mr. Usman Barambu, made the appeal at the Legislative Summit on Student Loans and Access to Higher Education, organized by the House Ad Hoc Committee in Abuja. Chat Moses has the details.
Barambu also urged for inclusion of student representation and to capture polytechnics and colleges of education on the board instead of only the National University Commission, which was earlier captured. He further stated that criteria for access to loan in the current act are too tight, noting that the period of payment of 2 years is too short and should be reviewed upward to at least 4 to 5 years. He said there is also the need to look at the list of guarantors, which will be difficult for the students to meet the requirements. Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Services, Mohammed Nami, said that FIRS is committed to working with the Parliament on the Students' Loan Project. He suggested that the Parliament should seek amendments that would allow the funding to be drawn from the Federation's account, where all states can contribute to. Chat Moses reporting for Value Chain TV.
We've come to the end of the news update. I am Neman Abagodu. Thanks for watching.